Can I be real with you for a second, man? One of the biggest mistakes we make is thinking that taking a woman seriously means honoring every word, every emotion, and every mood like it's written in stone. We think that's what respect looks like. But in reality, it's the fastest way to get emotionally wrecked. Because women don't operate in the same rigid logic that men do. Their words often reflect how they feel in the moment, not some long-term, carefully calculated belief. That, forever, she promised last night might evaporate by morning. That deep confession she shared might feel irrelevant a week from now. And it doesn't make her fake, it makes her emotional. That's how she processes life. But if you treat every emotional spike like it's gospel, you're going to exhaust yourself trying to keep up. You'll be crushed by contradictions, hurt by temporary anger, and confused by how quickly things shift. You'll start thinking she's playing games, when really, she's just flowing through what she feels. Respecting a woman doesn't mean reacting to everything she says. It means seeing through it, staying grounded, and not letting every emotional wave knock you off center. That's real strength, and that's where real respect begins. Too many men fall into the trap of thinking they need to fix everything a woman feels. She gets upset, and suddenly he's scrambling for solutions. She vents about her day, and he's already offering advice she didn't ask for. She's moody or distant, and he panics, thinking it's about him, thinking he's failing somehow. But here's the truth, she's not always looking for answers. Sometimes, she's just expressing herself. Her emotions aren't a puzzle to solve, they're waves to ride. When you treat every emotional reaction like a fire alarm, you become a slave to her moods. And that's not love, that's burnout waiting to happen. You start walking on eggshells, trying to anticipate her next emotional shift. You lose your own peace trying to manage hers. And the crazy part? The more you try to solve her, the more disconnected she feels from you. She doesn't want a mechanic fixing her emotions, she wants a man who can hold space for them without breaking. That doesn't mean ignoring her. It means listening, understanding, and staying calm. Let her express, let her vent, but don't drown in it. You're not supposed to absorb her chaos. You're supposed to be the calm in the storm, not another wave crashing into her. Women don't always test men on purpose, but that doesn't mean the tests aren't real. Sometimes, they'll tell you they want one thing, then change direction completely the next day. They'll express love, then create distance. They'll say you're perfect, then pick you apart. It's not malicious. It's instinctual. It's how they feel out your strength without even realizing they're doing it. At their core, women are drawn to grounded men, men who don't get shaken every time the emotional weather shifts. So when they throw you curveballs, contradict themselves, or stir up a little chaos, they're not necessarily trying to hurt you. They're subconsciously asking one question, can he handle me? And here's the mistake so many men make, they take every shift seriously. They try to fix her confusion. They argue with the contradictions. They chase after consistency that doesn't exist in her emotional world. But every time you do that, you fail the test. Because you're showing her you're not anchored, you're reactive. What she's truly looking for is a man who sees the drama, hears the noise, and chooses calm anyway. She wants to feel your certainty when she's uncertain. She wants to know that her emotional waves won't capsize your boat. Pass that test, and she'll trust you with everything. Attraction isn't built on sameness, it's built on contrast. Polarity. Masculine and feminine energy balancing each other out. The moment you start matching her chaos with your own chaos, the spark starts to die. When she's emotional and you become emotional too, things spiral. You argue, you defend, you try to make her see your side. But she doesn't need another emotional mirror. She needs a counterbalance. Someone steady when she's shaky. Someone calm when she's on fire. That's where the real chemistry lives, in the space between her emotion and your groundedness. She may come at you with heat, drama, tears, or contradictions. That's not your cue to react. It's your opportunity to lead the moment with strength. If you stay centered and unbothered, you create safety, and in that safety, attraction grows. Not because you're ignoring her, but because you're not being pulled into the emotional storm. You're holding your own energy while allowing her to move through hers. That's magnetic. That's what makes her feel safe and turned on. But when you crumble under her chaos, when you fight fire with fire, you kill the polarity. You become just another emotional partner in the storm instead of the steady force she can lean on. That's when attraction fades, fast. The men women obsess over aren't the ones who treat every word like a declaration or every emotion like a crisis. They're the ones who stay playful, light, and even a little teasing in the face of drama. It's not because they don't care, it's because they don't let themselves be controlled by emotional chaos. That kind of energy is intoxicating to women. When a man can smirk instead of snap, tease instead of defend, or laugh instead of spiral, he shows emotional strength. And that strength builds attraction far more than any grand gesture or deep conversation ever could. Playfulness signals something powerful, confidence. It says, I'm not afraid of your emotions. I can handle them, and I can even have fun while doing it. That's rare. Most men either overcorrect by becoming overly serious or check out completely. But the man who can joke with her in the middle of her contradictions without being dismissive, he becomes unforgettable. Humor breaks tension. It neutralizes drama without invalidating her. It tells her, without words, you're safe with me, and I'm not going to let this moment ruin what we have. That's why she chases the playful man, not the man who lectures, debates, or begs. Playfulness isn't childish. It's control without control. And that's irresistible. A huge mistake men make is treating a woman's words like legal contracts, set in stone, never to change. She says something in anger, frustration, or excitement, and he locks it in his memory like it's gospel. Then, when she changes her tune later, he feels betrayed, confused, or even resentful. But here's the truth most men miss: she wasn't lying when she said it, she meant it in that moment. That's how emotions work. They're not fixed. They're fluid, like water constantly shifting with the current. And trying to hold her to every emotional statement she's ever made will drive you insane. You'll find yourself keeping score, pulling out receipts, arguing logic against feelings. And she'll feel misunderstood, cornered, and emotionally unsafe. Not because you're being cruel, but because you're missing the point. She's not trying to be consistent, she's trying to express what she feels right now. Your role isn't to nail her to the wall of her past words, it's to stay centered as her emotions flow around you. Let her change. Let her contradict herself. Let her feel one way today and another way tomorrow. Your steadiness through that is what builds trust. Not your memory. Not your counterarguments. Just your calm presence in the middle of her emotional weather. When you take a woman too seriously, you unknowingly hand over your power. Every time you react to her moods, overanalyze her words, or try to dissect every contradiction, you're showing her that she controls the emotional tone of the relationship. That might sound like attentiveness, but it actually signals weakness. Because the man who lets her emotional state dictate his own is no longer leading, he's following. And the moment she senses that, respect starts to fade. Women are naturally drawn to strength, not the kind that overpowers, but the kind that remains unfazed. Emotional control. Inner stillness. Calm leadership. When she throws a storm your way, and you don't flinch. That's attractive. When she tries to test your limits and you respond with grounded calm instead of panic. That's rare. That's what makes her feel both safe and magnetically pulled to you. But if you crumble, chase, argue, or beg for clarity every time she shifts, you become predictable, and easily controlled. That predictability kills attraction. What keeps her interested is knowing you can't be puppeteered. That no matter what she throws at you, you'll stay solid. That energy builds trust, respect, and desire. And when you hold on to your frame like that, you stop chasing her approval, and start commanding her attention. Here's the twist most men never see coming: when you stop taking women so seriously, you actually begin to love them more authentically. Not the fantasy version, the real, raw, emotional, beautiful chaos that makes them who they are. You stop being disappointed every time they shift moods. You stop resenting their contradictions. You stop expecting them to operate like men, with fixed logic and emotional consistency. Instead, you accept them fully, and in that acceptance, real connection is born. This doesn't mean you ignore what they say or stop caring. It means you stop holding their emotions to rigid standards they were never designed to meet. You let her feel deeply, move freely, and express without fear of being judged or trapped in her past words. And because you're no longer trying to change her or fix her, she feels safe with you. She trusts you. And that trust creates the space for deeper love. The man who expects consistency will always be frustrated. But the man who embraces her emotional nature without losing himself becomes unforgettable. That's true masculine strength, not dominance, but grounded presence. And once you master that balance, you'll find peace. You'll stop chasing clarity in her chaos. And instead, you'll lead both of you through it with confidence. The final lesson is simple but powerful: stop expecting her to be something she's not. Women are emotional, fluid, and ever-changing, not because they're broken, but because that's how they're built. The moment you stop demanding logic from emotion, consistency from chaos, and permanence from passing feelings, you set yourself free. You stop arguing. You stop chasing. You stop draining yourself trying to decode every mood swing and mixed signal. Instead, you start leading. You start listening without losing your center. You start loving without attachment to how she should be. You become the man who doesn't just survive her storms, you become the one she leans on during them. And that man is rare. That man is remembered. That man earns respect without demanding it, keeps attraction alive without trying to force it, and maintains his frame while others collapse. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be solid. Unshakable. Calm when it counts. And if you can be that, you'll stop losing yourself in her emotions and start showing up as the man she can truly trust, desire, and follow. If this truth hit home, subscribe for more insights that cut through the noise and show you how to lead in life, love, and everything in between.